I want to know the journey of an IPS officer from a trainee till a senior officer.
When you are selected, first you of course go for a foundation course, 3 months foundation course. I did in Mussoorie in the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy of Administration.
आपको अपने पूरे करियर में कोई गिल्ट या कोई रिग्रेट है?
Cases, maybe there are some. There's one case in Indore only. So वहाँ पे we found a vehicle which was burned badly. कच्चा रोड, उस पे वो गाड़ी खड़ी थी and there were 2 dead bodies.
तो डर लगा है कभी? Have you felt fear?
Fear. You feel threatened sometimes. कभी-कभी पत्थर भी हमने खाए हैं, कभी-कभी गोलियां भी चली हैं आसपास.
Another thing, sir, which I observed was that you are holding a world record, and that world record is about solving the cold murders. What is a cold murder?
I got 5 world records, let's say.
Okay.
One of them is this.
You know, privacy is a myth in India. Do you think Indians, they don't really value their data?
But individual's information can only be secured by himself or herself. That in the cyber world, nobody can secure you except you yourself.
There are two major issues. Number one being the online gaming. Second is pornographic content. And these are the two major sources where these young children, they can fall into the trap of cybercrime.
Online gaming ke liye I can tell you that online gaming obviously is not a crime. Again, pornography is, you cannot ban it.
Dr. Varun Kapoor, welcome to the Gaur podcast. It's an absolute honor having you on the show, sir.
Thank you.
This is my first podcast with an IPS officer. I was a little nervous, but extremely excited for this conversation and really looking forward to this insightful conversation with you. So, sir, we'll begin this podcast by knowing your journey.
Yeah.
How did you land up in IPS?
Look, I have said this many times, but I'm an engineer by education.
Okay.
So I did it from NIT Trichy, and I was wanting to go abroad for my further studies.
Okay.
And my father was an IAS officer.
Right.
And he was an MP cadre only. He retired as Chief Secretary of MP, let's say. But being the only son, my mother was not very keen that I should go abroad because she felt I will not come back. And she didn't want to part with me. So she was very insistent that I should not go. But I had fixed my mind that I will go there and do my further studies. So, but I tried to convince her that it will be, I'll come back, there's no problem. But Ma was not very ready for that. And she gave me an option that just give it once, this exam. And if you qualify, you can stay back, or if you don't, then you can go. Just for keeping my mother's heart, I thought that chalo, maa ka dil reh jayega, so I will try it once. So, and because I had seen my father as a civil servant, so obviously there was something in my mind because everyone wants to emulate his or her father.
Right.
But even I had that kind of feeling, but I was not very determined that I would become a civil servant or something like that. But so I gave it for her, for my mother. And I came into IPS. Then I got my Madhya Pradesh cadre, which was my parents, my father, mother were here only. So I decided to stay back and give the exam again because my aim was to become IAS like my father.
Okay.
So I gave it again and again. I got IPS only in the second attempt also.
Right.
So then I joined this service. That's how I landed up. I may be accidental IPS officer, but now a very satisfied one.
Right. So there is a common connection, sir. I am also the only son. So that's a common connection.
Okay.
And my mother also wanted me to give the UPSC exam, but I had different plans, obviously.
Correct.
So I want to know that these days there is a lot of glorification of the UPSC exam. I want to know how was the UPSC exam scenario at your time? Like, was it like that, you know, these days also there is a narrative that UPSC निकल गया तो आपकी 7 पुश्तों का एक बार से काम हो गया.
Oh, really?
So how was it like at your time? अभी तो सर social media है. There are reels. There is a lot of glorification, like I said. But
Correct.
How people used to feel attracted to civil services at that time?
Look, see, common service has always been a big attraction for people of this country. Common service as such. And in that, the UPSC services, which they offer, IAS, IPS, and the central services, they are the best of the government services. So they always have had a great charm and a great attraction for people. Of course, the means of spreading the word about their importance and their power, whatever is being spread now, those means have increased manifold. Right. So the attraction amongst people may have increased. Similarly, the population has increased. So numbers have increased who are giving this exam. But I believe that it was that time also very attractive and a very big victory and success story if people made it to this service. So it has always been that. Only thing is probably now it is more glorified and it is more visible. You can see it in many mediums, the people who are aspirants and all that. So that may be the part which has come now. But I believe it was always a very premier service and a premier exam.
Right, sir. Sir, you're a very senior IPS officer. I want to know the journey of an IPS officer from a trainee till a senior officer. Like, what are the different levels an officer goes through?
Okay. See, first we have a training in our National Police Academy.
Okay.
When you are selected, first you of course go for a foundation course.
Right.
I did my foundation course when all the services do it together. 3 months foundation course I did in Mussoorie in the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy of Administration. So people do it in different places. So I did it there.
Okay.
After your 3 months foundation, then you land up in your professional training institute. So we landed up in NPA,
Okay.
National Police Academy is in Hyderabad, as you know. So there is a course. It's a kind of a sandwich course. So you
Okay.
have two stints at the academy and one stint in the district and of your state. So first, it is a very big sea change for a common person from a civilian life to a uniform life, and the discipline and the fitness, and that is a very tough, grueling 9 months that we spent in the first phase. It was we felt it was very difficult and very it was great pressures and time pressures and physical efforts, and it was a lot.
Right.
And that time we used to complain. But yesterday I went to my jungle camp where my trainees were there who are having a jungle camp there. So I was telling them, I said, those are the days, these are the days which they are spending today
Okay.
that you remember all your life. So that made us from people, from common civilians to office gentlemen officers, lady officers. So it was a big transition. That is the one phase in which you really feel you have entered uniformed service, and it's a
Right.
different world and a different life. And then, of course, when you finish your training, then you start first you do district training
Okay.
as a trainee officer, ASP it's called,
Okay.
Assistant Superintendent of Police, and then you progress in the hierarchy. You start from SDOP,
Okay.
Sub-Division Police Officer. Here we call in the city CSP.
Okay.
So your charges become bigger from looking after 3 police stations. Then you start looking after 10 or 12, and then you become Superintendent of Police. I was Superintendent of Police for 3 districts, so each district had an average of around 20 police stations.
Okay.
So similarly, the number of people working under you increase, the crime amounts of crime increases, the law and order duties increase. So it becomes more and more number of people under you and the area under you. Then you progress to the ranges when you become DIG in the range. I did 3 ranges in Madhya Pradesh,
Okay.
Ujjain, Chhatarpur and Ratlam. So then you look after 3-4 districts. Then you become IG or ADG in a zone.
Okay.
So I did Indore zone, which had 9 districts.
Okay.
So and it had a population. I used to that time tell people that we have a population of 1.4 crores in this area. It is 1% of the Indian population, and 20,000 police personnel used to work under me when I was here in the zone,
Okay.
which is again 1/6 of the total force Madhya Pradesh police. So it was that's how your charges increase and your duties increase, and then ultimately you become supervisory. From directly working in the field, you become a supervisory officer.
Right.
So that's how it is, but tough job, and it is always very challenging.
So, sir, when we were coming here outside, I read that there was a line written that leadership is about doing the right thing when no one is watching. So, as an IPS officer, your leadership role has evolved consistently and it has broadened over the period of time.
Right.
So, actually, I wanted to ask this question later in the podcast, but now I want to ask that how, for you personally, how has leadership evolved? Like, as a leader, how have you evolved, and what are what are the learnings about leadership?
Yeah.
Which, because you have, as I mentioned, that as the role grows, your leadership range, the dimension, it enlarges. So, what is your opinion on leadership? Right.
See, I believe a leader, the leadership, your scale might increase.
Right.
You're maybe commanding 1,000 people, then you command 20,000 people. So there is the scales increase and decrease, but the qualities remain the same.
Okay.
The leadership qualities, if you are leading 5 people team also, will be the same nearly as what if you are leading 500 people.
Okay.
So the biggest quality as a leader, which I felt, would be that you have to lead by example.
Right.
I think that is the biggest thing, and especially for a uniformed force. If you are saying something else and expecting your people to do something else, and you yourself are doing something else, that is a very bad example of a leader. And if you have to be a good leader, then you have to actually do what you say, walk the talk, as they say.
Right.
So they see you, and if they see you doing the right thing at the right time, then they will do better. But if you are not doing that, then they will do worse. So if you are doing something which is wrong, they will do it 10 times worse.
Right.
And if you're doing something good, then they will maybe do 100 times better.
Right.
So you have to lead by example. That is one thing. There are many other things, dimensions of leadership, good communication, problem solving attitude, and teamwork. There's so many things like that. Especially for uniformed force, it becomes very important. But I think the biggest dominating quality which I have felt that you should display to motivate your subordinates, your colleagues, is that you should lead by example. You should do what you say and what you preach. Practice what you preach.
So, sir, according to you, a leader is born or made?
Both, I think. Some qualities are inborn. You
Okay.
cannot change that. But there are many qualities which you imbibe as you go along. And if you are a good learner, then you learn faster.
Right.
And you do better things faster. And if you, some people are not very good, they're not very fast learners. They take time, but then some qualities you definitely learn over the years once you get experience.
Right.
Good mixture of both, that will make the best leader.
Right, sir. So leadership can be cultivated. That's the message. And
I guess some parts can.
Right. Sir, right now, you are leading a great initiative on cyber awareness, on the cyber security. Sir, I think cyber world in itself is a great threat. And considering the emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, deep fakes, this is becoming even more dangerous. Do you think India is prepared for this threat? People are aware of the threat?
People are becoming more and more aware. I started working in this field almost 13 years back. And that time I saw the situation then, and I know the situation now. Of course, the quantum of cybercrime has also increased. The ways of doing it also have improved. And the new technologies have added many more dimensions to it. That's that apart.
Okay.
But people definitely are more aware that there is something called a cybercrime and how it occurs. Some parts they know. But the criminals, I always tell people that they are professional criminals. They are not, a professional doctor will do a very good job. He does one operation, he will be X level of proficiency. When he does his 100th operation, he will be 100, should be 100 times better.
Right.
Logically, no, but yes, he must be much better. So similarly, these criminals, when they make the first phishing phone call, you may be able to even identify it. There, I found it fishy. But when that person makes the 100th phone call, he will be very good. You ask him one question, he will give you 2 replies. No, he is prepared for everything. So they are professional criminals, and to deal with that kind of criminal, you have to be very aware and very alert, and then only you can do it. And that's what I tell the people, that technological solutions that you, I will tell that you put a good antivirus and you have a strong password. These are technological solutions. They are short-lived. They will give you short-term benefit. That antivirus is good only till some new virus is developed. So it will give you a short-term solution. What you need is a psychological solution.
Right.
Psychology will change your behavior. Technology will only improve your performance. So when you change your behavior in the virtual world, then only lasting security you will get. So that behavioral change will come from your mind. And that is what I try to tell people again and again and again. The systems of doing these crimes, the ways of doing, the proficiency of these criminals, the technology which aids them to do the crime, like AI and all that, will keep on improving. But you still have to battle it and still have to win. So you have to change your mindset. When you are online, when you are in a virtual world, you should have a different mindset, which is different from the mindset of this real world. That is what I try to make people understand. And when they think in that line, then I think they will maybe do the right thing at the right time.
Right. So there was like this one web series, I think, and there was this one single line, a dialogue in that movie which stuck with me. It was like, privacy is a myth in India. So do you think Indians, they don't really value their data?
Yeah, privacy laws are still not there in India. And I'm sure they will come sooner or later. But yes, they are very needed for many things that but even in a country like US, where they have very strict privacy laws, but they have something called a Homeland Security Act also, which is a wartime act. And that came after, of course, 9/11 attack. And under that, they can view any data which is available in their servers in any of these giants which are there. So privacy is is only subservient to the national security. So you should have privacy laws. Yes, you should. Of course, why not? Everyone needs it. But it should not override the national interest and the national security.
But do you think so? Like I told Indians, particularly our mindset is that we share our data very casually. Like कहीं पर भी किसी ने number मांगा दे दिया, email मांगा दे दिया. So they don't know the value of data because
I would not say that is the privacy issue.
Okay.
I would say that is awareness problem.
Okay.
That is lack of awareness that they are doing this. They don't know what can happen with it.
Okay.
There's
exactly.
A word, yeah.
Right.
So there is a word called, even Americans fall prey to it, you know. In India, many call centers and all have been, they have caught it in India, who were sitting here and doing crime in US. And they were pretending to be their revenue service, whatever they call it there. And they used to call from here and threaten them and that you will be under arrest and all, and take information from them. And they were also giving. So it is not that is only an Indian problem, but the thing is that lack of awareness leads to it. And India that's what I tell people also. There's a thing, keywords are very important, you know, because if you keep on hearing a lot of text and a lot of dialogues, they may not stay with you, but words always stay with you. And when the time comes, you can retrieve that word. So words are very important. So a very important word in this field is information security.
Okay.
The people should realize that your information can only be secured by you. There are now MTechs and all in information security, but those are for the big companies, the servers, you know, firewalls, and protect their data. But individual's information can only be secured by himself or herself. So they have to realize that who to share with, when to share, how much to share, whether to share or not share.
Right.
They have to think on those lines and then do accordingly. They cannot keep doing whatever they want and spreading the data everywhere and then still feeling they'll be secure.
Right.
Because it's a database crime, cyber crime.
Correct. Yeah. Also, sir, I think in cyber world, it is all about exploiting the vulnerabilities of different section of the population.
Yeah.
For example, a young teenager, let us say he's in the age gap of 15 to 18 or 19. There are two major issues. Number one being the online gaming and these betting apps which are being promoted by influencers, which is, I think, very wrong in my personal opinion. Second is pornographic content. That is another very big issue. And these are the two major sources where these young children, they can fall into the trap of cybercrime. So what is your opinion about that? How can parents, and you know, the first level is obviously the parents. They are the first level that can ensure a check. And then obviously the laws and the administration. How can this menace be controlled and reduced?
Look, see, first of all, I just would like to tell you that you must be knowing it, that in the cyber world, nobody can secure you except you yourself. In the real world, that's why I tell people, there are two worlds we are living in. You must first understand that. Yeah. One is this real world. One is that virtual world, which is the device-based world. You're born in the real world and you connect to the virtual world through a device. So that world is very different. The way you do things, the way you hear, the way you look, the way you behave, it's absolutely different from real world. And it's different from the virtual world because that is a different world. So that mindset has to change. I keep telling people that you have to first realize that this is a different world. In the real world, there is an instinct, which is part of your mindset, that what you see or what you hear, you believe, because you see with your own eyes and hear with your own ears. But if you put that instinct in the virtual world, that whatever you see, whatever you hear, you believe and then do something, then you're going to make a mistake, because in that world, people can make you see anything and hear anything. Just because you have seen it with your own eyes, that doesn't mean it's true. So, you know, those kind of mindset changes are very necessary. And in the real world, I'm a police officer. If you come to me and say, I'm insecure, do something, provide me security. I can do many things to give you security. You do your job, I'll do my job. I'll do surveillance, I'll do patrolling, I'll do checking, I'll give you personal bodyguard, I'll do preventive arrest. There's so many techniques by which I can secure you. But if you come and tell me that please secure me in the virtual world, I have threats there. Can I do something? I cannot do anything. Cybercrime, I say, is a crime between an individual and his or her device. Who comes between you and your device? Nobody. Right. So you have to do the right thing. You have to do the wrong thing. So that is why only you can secure yourself, firstly. So as you said, parents are the first level of security. Parents are only the first level of security if the children allow them to come between them and the device, which they don't. So ultimately, it's up to, again, the child to be secure. So then again, it's awareness. They will be secure only if they are aware. So awareness is the only key to cybersecurity, I always say. And you asked about online gaming and pornographic content. So online gaming, ke liye, I can tell you that online gaming obviously is not a crime. It is a problem which the children have to face and the youth have to face. And it's basically a business which some people do online. It's not a game actually. The name is given gaming, but it's not a game. It gives no benefit to the person who does it. It gives profit to the person who runs those companies. There's a thing called Fortnite. It's an online shooter game. it's the revenue generated by $5 billion by that one game, 40,000 crores. So it is a business which some people do online. And if our children and youth start doing, they would like them to do more and more of that, so that they get more and more profit. But if our children start spending more time in it, doing more things, they will fall ill. It's called online gaming disorder, which is WHO has said it in its report. Not from my side. So what do I suggest to the children? Because again, they have to do it themselves. Nobody can stop them from doing it. They know that now if you do too much, you will fall sick.
Right.
So you have to fix the time and you have to fix the content. This is what I tell the children and the youth. Time fix karo, आधा घंटा करो, 1 घंटा करो. If you want to try it, do it. But don't keep doing it the whole day. And second is fix content. Age-specific content should be stressed. Because some of these gamings are full of blood, bullets, murder, dead bodies, rape, sex, drugs, whatever is possible is there. And if you're a child and you're doing it, obviously you're going to damage your brain and your mind. So online gaming, I find those are the only solutions. And you said about pornography. Again, pornography is, you cannot ban it. You cannot shut it down, because those people who run these kind of networks, they just change URL, address box, they just change one letter and it again comes online. So basically, it is a matter of making the child aware and trying to. There are softwares, of course, the parents. I call it invasive monitoring.
Okay.
The children.
What is that?
See, monitoring is very necessary for children, along with awareness. For you and me, awareness is good enough to deal with cybercrime. If we are aware, we can deal with it. But they need monitoring also, because they are in that category. Monitoring is either invasive, like you can put some softwares and some technologies inside your children's device. You can do it because you're a parent, so that you can monitor what they're doing online. And then there is persuasive monitoring, of course, when you can talk to them. That is counseling part, which teachers can also do, and so many people can do. So some kind of invasive monitoring, if they feel they want to do for children below 18 years, then they must do that also. So that they know what they're doing, so that they can protect them at the right time.
So my next question is on the behalf of all the females, right? I have had friends who have had faced cyberbullying, cyber stalking, and this is the case with almost every female girl on the social media, right? Being an IPS officer, this is the question coming from them. What will be your directive to all those girls, that how can they be? See, you cannot say that, oh, don't use social media. That's not the way. They have to. That is their right. They should. How can they be safe on social media? What are the do's and don'ts for them, especially girls?
Girls, see, cyberbullying is done with everyone. It can be even done on me.
Right.
And,
but they are more vulnerable to that.
Obviously, they are because they get more affected by it.
Right.
But it is done to everyone. And the way they do, how you deal with it, that is very important.
Okay.
Some people take it, if you're in a better manner, some people become more concerned and all that. But cyberbullying, if you are online, if you're doing something virtually, then something like that can happen. Right. So you should be prepared to what you're going to do about it. So what I suggest, and especially to the girls, what I would suggest is, first is, if somebody tries to do cyberbullying on you or stalking, there are two different things actually.
Right.
Cyberbullying means the best response, no response.
Okay.
Don't try to engage. You ignore that. That's the first response. Second is, even if it continues, then you unfriend or block and cut the communication. Third, which is the most important, I tell the girls also, and that you should save evidence. Whenever this is going on, saving evidence, take a screenshot, print the screen, capture the URL, record the phone call, record the screen if it's from a video call. Do these kind of things, save evidence and report. Once you report, then digital footprints will ensure that that person is caught. You cannot say that I have not done it. Once you're caught, then you'll be punished. And if somebody is doing it for fun, just to trouble someone, then they will get a good lesson, because you will have a case registered against you first. So when you are accused, so you lose many rights in society. You cannot get a job, and when the trial goes on and you are convicted, which you will be, because digital footprints and these digital evidence is very good evidence. So if you are convicted, then your future is very badly destroyed, because you will not get verification, no passports, and so many things. So that person will get a good lesson for troubling someone just for nothing. So that much the himmat jise bolte hain, you must have that much confidence and thing that first of all, don't engage. Even if it keeps on, then collect evidence and report, and
Right.
get that person punished and secure yourself. You should not become upset by it or lose your confidence about it.
Right. So I want to personally know that whether I'm cyber secure or not. So this is a small exercise I planned, that can you provide a checklist for the audience to know that whether they are cyber secure or not. कि यार ये 5 tick boxes हैं, आपने अगर ये tick कर रखे हैं, एक level तक you are cyber secure. Can you provide that checklist? Even we'll check that if you are cyber secure or not.
There is no checklist like that.
Okay.
The first part of the checklist will be: are you have you made up your mind and change your mindset that you know that this is a different world? When you switch on your mobile or your computer or your laptop, have you in your mind that this is a different world?
Right.
First of all, that is the first aspect of it. Second is, once you change your mindset, then what are you doing with that mindset? Are you there are two parts of cybercrime also. There is one, it's called financial cybercrime, in which people are losing their money.
Right.
And then there is a social cybercrime, which I say, in which people lose their identity, their name, their reputation, their life also people are ended up losing. So have you differentiated those two things? Third is, you should never fall for greed.
Okay.
That is a very big principle, that lalach mein nahi aana.
There's nothing for free.
There's nothing for free. There are no free lunches, as they say. So you won't get a job, you won't get a lottery, you won't get a relationship sitting at home. You have to work for it. So don't fall for greed. Then another aspect can be, think before you act. What you're posting, what you're liking, what you're sharing, what you're forwarding. Just think once. Are you doing the right thing? Because without thinking, people are doing this. And they are becoming criminals by mistake. See, the cyber world is a double-edged weapon, I say. In the real world, you make a mistake, you might become victim of crime. Cyber world, you make a mistake, you might become victim of crime, but at the same time, making a mistake by mistake, you might become a criminal by mistake. People are doing so many kind of things. As is the case in Indore. That person got a WhatsApp video.
Okay.
Somebody sent him a video. He played the video. In the beginning, there was things about the nation and the Deshbhakti part, the Vande Mataram and all that. He was very happy. He closed the video, he forwarded it to 5 people, then 5 people. Like that, he sent it to 10, 15 people. Then one of his friends called him and said, what are you doing? What type of video are you sending? So he said, this is a Deshbhakti video. What is the problem? So he said, Deshbhakti? I said, have you seen it? So he had not seen the whole thing because hurry.
Right.
The attention span is 8 seconds. You know that?
Right. That is a big problem.
So this person then saw the whole video. So then he found that at the beginning there was for the nation, and the later part was all type of nonsense against the country, and he was forwarding it. If somebody had reported it to police, there's a matter of Deshdrah ka mamla banta hai wo. He would have gone to life imprisonment if he would have been convicted. So just for a hurry. So don't be in a hurry. Take your time and then see. And the last, what I would like to say, the fifth point, that we are interaction-based individuals, humans. We interact with people, we interact with places, we interact with situations, and then lead our life. When you're in the virtual world, who are you interacting with? You're just interacting with a screen.
Right.
So always keep it in mind that don't trust everything blindly. So these things are part of awareness. If you have that kind of, just think about these things, and then I think you will not make the mistake.
Right. So cyber world is, if we have to summarize, it is about taking everything with a pinch of salt. Right.
A lot of salt.
A lot of salt.
Pinch.
Right. Another initiative, sir, you're working on is drug trafficking. Right. I was very surprised to know that even the regular medicines are being abused.
Yeah.
So what is this, sir? Like, is it true?
Yeah.
Is it happening?
See, drugs are of many types.
Right.
There is one category of drug called depressants, which slow you down, which give you sarur, जिसे बोलते हैं. Depressants, alcohol is a very common depressant, and then of course heroin-based, opium-based drugs. They are all depressants, naturally grown opium, and then brown sugar, and then heroin. So that's one part of the drug family is the depressants.
Okay.
Then there are, of course, the synthetic depressants also, which are manufactured, the medicines kind of thing, but they are drugs. Then there is another category which are called stimulants.
Okay.
Stimulants are like would make you hyperactive, and something like cocaine-based drugs. They are all stimulants.
Okay.
And caffeine and coffee. Also, even tea has got caffeine. So they are also mild, but they're stimulants basically. And then, of course, there is hallucinogens, which are like marijuana.
Okay.
and they make you feel go into a different world and you hallucinate and all. They are hallucinogens. That's the third category of drugs. Then there is another category, pharmaceutical drugs.
Right.
Abusing pharmaceutical drugs, basically the analgesics, painkillers,
Right.
and sleeping tablets.
Like
Those are the two
the
kind of drugs.
paracetamol, ibuprofen, all of
Yeah,
those.
they are painkillers.
Mhm.
They are analgesics, and then there are sleeping for sleeping. Those so those two kind of drugs are also abused,
Okay.
and they give something like the same kind of effect. So those pharmaceutical drugs are also abused, and their trade also is like cough syrups. They've got alcohol, and they've got other codeine. They have codeine is a derivative of opium, so that is put in the cough syrup. So that is also abused. So there are many pharmaceutical drugs which are abused for getting that kind of high as a narcotic drug.
Right. That is just very like a strange issue. I mean, creating a problem out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I was very surprised to know that actually. Right, sir. Another thing, sir, which I observed was that you are holding a world record. I
Five.
mean, and that world record is about solving the cold murders.
cold cases. Yes.
Yeah. Cold cases of murders. Sir, I want to know the what and why. What is a cold murder?
What is the cold case? Okay, I'll tell you. See, I've got 5 world records. I say
Okay.
one of them is this: cold case. Any case which has not been solved. See, when you register a case, right, criminal case, it can end in 3 ways. One is you find the evidence and you get the accused and you charge sheet that in the court.
Okay.
So that is a solved case. Then second kind of case is in which the crime has happened, but the evidence could not be found and the accused could not be apprehended due to various reasons. And those cases are they're called final report cases. They are filed. They are not finished. They are filed till
Okay.
you find some new evidence. So you can reopen that case and try
Okay.
to solve it. That is the second category. FR, they are called FR
Okay.
cases. Those are charge sheet cases. And the third is ER, that is expunction report. That means the case is registered, but it was a fake complaint. It was a false complaint.
Okay.
So in that case, you take action against the complainant if it is found to be a fake. So there are 3 ways any criminal case will end.
Okay.
So the second part, which I told you, the FR cases, the filed cases, when you get evidence, you can reopen those cases
Okay.
and you can try to solve them. So those are the cold cases, and they can be of any type. They can be of murder, they can be of rape, they can be
Okay.
of burglary, they can be of robbery, whatever. So I concentrated on cases of murder which had been filed
Okay.
for some reason. So I concentrated on those because that murder is the biggest offense. Taking somebody's life, you cannot have a bigger offense than that. So it just started as a chance only. One case I solved when I was my first posting. Second posting was in Indore. I was explicitly in Indore.
Okay.
So many years back. So one case we solved, and I found that it had a very good impact in various aspects. First of all, murder is solved, which is a very important thing to do. Second, the person who has died, victim, his or her family, they also get retribution that after so many years, at least the murderer is caught. So they feel satisfied to some extent. Of course, they cannot replace that person, but satisfaction is there. Third is it's a good message to the society that police is so active that they're trying to solve old cases and catching them. So either way, it's a win-win situation. So I thought it's something which I should do in my career as a focus kind of thing. So wherever I was posted, I used to make a small team of officers, and they were tasked with this only, to take the old cases, go through the case diaries, try to collect evidence, and we used to give it in the paper. And then after some years, my name became like that. When I used to be posted, they used to say, "Aap to purane murder solve karte ho." So people used to come and give us information that my brother was also murdered and this is what happened, and by chance. So I used to get information from those sources and we used to try to solve it. So we solved 110 cases like that in the various places I was posted, because solving a cold case is very tough.
Right.
The trails have gone dead and they're all cold. That's why it's called cold. So it is a very tough job, but we still did it, and it was great. It was a great feeling.
So the why was basically having a purpose, the purpose to deliver justice, and obviously it was serving your self-actualization goals.
Plus a good message to society,
Right.
and good motivation for my officers. See, I'll give you an example. There's a district in MP called Sihor, that is near Bhopal, our capital. So I was SP there for 2 years nearly, 1.5 years. So when I went there, I started this drive. So Sihor has an average that time around 40 to 45 murders at an average. Some year 40, some year 42, some year 45, like that. So the year I did it, 1 year I did it, and the next year the figures, you won't believe it, of murders in the district came down to 2. So it was not by chance that
उन्हें पता है कि पकड़े जाएंगे.
पुराने केस पकड़ रहे हैं तो हमको ऐसे बचेंगे.
Right.
कोई भी मर्डर, एक तो होता है ऑन द स्पॉट, गुस्सा आ गया, लड़ाई होगी, मर गया कोई. एक होता है प्लान मर्डर, कोल्ड ब्लडेड जिसे बोलते हैं,
Right.
सोच समझ के प्लान करके. वो लोग पकड़े थोड़ी जाना चाहते हैं, वो तो अपनी तरफ से प्लान करके करते हैं. तो ऐसे लोगों को लगा कि भैया पुराने यार 5 साल पहला 10 साल पहला पकड़े जा रहे हैं तो हम भी पकड़े जाएंगे, तो मत करो. देयर वाज सम काइंड ऑफ साइकोलॉजिकल प्रेशर ऑन देम. सो इट रिड्यूस्ड फ्रॉम 40 to 2. सो इट हैज अ ग्रेट इफेक्ट ऑल्सो ऑन सोसाइटी एंड द क्राइम विच इज हैपनिंग.
सर आपने प्लानिंग की बात करी, सबसे सोफिस्टिकेटेड प्लानिंग आपने देखी है कहीं, जब आपको भी लगा हो कि यार ये क्या दिमाग लगा लिया, मतलब इतना सोफिस्टिकेटेडली प्लान करके मर्डर किया या कोई क्राइम किया?
हाँ, अरे वो लोग बहुत प्लान करते हैं. पीपल आर, मतलब
हमने तो सर सीआईडी देखा है.
हाँ,
उसमें तो एविडेंस बड़ी जल्दी मिल जाता है.
ना, जल्दी तो नहीं मिलता भी है कभी कभी. There are two ways of catching a criminal. I always tell people. One is go to the scene of crime.
Okay.
Because scene of crime talks to you. If you are if you are very careful and you look at it properly and with the proper with time and patience, whatever, it will tell you many things.
So what a beautiful statement that the scene of crime talks to you.
It talks to you. Yes, it does. It tells you what has happened. And if you can read it and you can understand it, that is one. But sometimes some scenes are not at all, but you cannot find the answers there. Hardest you do, but still you can't do it. So then there is a second way. That is the reverse part. You catch the criminal first, based on some information, informants, some other kind of reasoning. Then like there is a burglary, big robbery. Somebody tells you that there's an old criminal, he's spending a lot of money. So you start interrogating him. So like that, that is from the other side. And that criminal tells you what he did. So one is you see the crime scene of crime and reach the criminal. The second is you catch the criminal and then you reach what happened at the scene of crime. So there are many ways. Criminal mind is very, very criminal. But they can think of anything.
कोई सर ऐसा केस है जिसके बारे में आप बात कर रहे हैं?
एक केस तो था, I was in Ratlam. There is a district in
Ratlam.
Ratlam is Pitha mein. So there was one girl. She was around 10 years old, and she was missing from her home.
Okay.
And she was living in an area which was mixed population, Hindu and Muslim kind. So it was a sensitive kind of thing. Morning, the inspector in charge phoned me and told me that this girl is missing, and she left home and she has not come back because the area was such. So it became a little sensitive case. And I said, okay, look for her, make a team, whatever we do. Started in that side. And after 2 hours, he phoned me and said her dead body has been found, and she was killed and put in a sack. Bori mein bandh ke, it was thrown, and that body and that bag was lying near her home only, not very far. There was one gully like this, and there were houses on both sides, and the next lane, which was not a used lane, it was people used to dump their kachra there, so it was lying there. Anyway, so that was the case, and the story is very long, but she was the daughter of a constable. Okay. And the constable was in the excise department, not police department, excise department constable. And very complicated case, and became a very sensitive case also because the way where it was based. And ultimately, when we solved the case, we found that the father was also involved.
Oh.
And so it was, and he was the man who was making the maximum noise and saying, oh, you are not doing anything, and they have killed, and he has killed, and she has killed. So those kind of things, I told him, I said, you please tell me, if you know everything, then tell me who has killed. We will go and arrest that person. We'll find out what has happened. Then he would not say that. So ultimately, we found that he was involved, and we booked him also. And like that, there's so many cases in which. But one thing I've noticed, which is very, in such kind of, they are called blind murders, basically. Blind when you do not know who has done it. So these blind murders, sometimes the people who are the most active during the searching operations or the later on when you are interrogating or when you are going to the accused and the people come in delegation that our murder has not been solved. So there's always some guy who's most active, who's making the most noise, or who's making the biggest slogans he's raising, or the one who's doing the most of acting, collapsing and fainting and that kind of thing. That person is somehow involved somewhere. I have seen that. Not always. It's not a thumb rule, but it is a very big. Many cases I have seen in which ultimately that person turns out to be connected somewhere, which is very strange and shows the human mindset that when you are guilty and you're hiding something, then you are more expressive and more, trying to prove that you're not guilty. So you do more than what is required.
I mean, so your profession has taught you philosophy to the ultimate level. मतलब narcissism होता है, एक sadist behavior होता है. All of that you must have encountered in your career. So आपके IPS के careers है ना sir, there are certain deep questions I had. These are questions I really wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Like the first being sir, आपको अपने पूरे career में कोई guilt या कोई regret है? Anything?
About
Anything
what?
you're guilty, you feel guilt about कि यार ये solve मैं नहीं कर पाया या फिर इधर justice deliver नहीं हो पाया, something related to that.
Cases, maybe there are some
Okay.
which I can think that which I could not solve, which I
Okay.
would have wanted to solve. There's one case in Indore only, where I was the additional SP. Where I told you my first posting here, SP City. There was a car we found in. अब तो पूरा शहर बन गया, but that time Rajendra Nagar area is the area. वो outskirts माना जाता था. Now it is now center of the city, because that what I am saying is around 96 or something like that.
Okay.
So many years back. So वहाँ पे we found a vehicle which was burnt badly. And it was on खेत टाइप थे ना, उसके बीच में मेड़ होती है, कच्चा रोड, उस पर वो गाड़ी खड़ी थी. सिटी से कोई ले गया होगा वहाँ पे. And there were two dead bodies in it, and they were charred and badly burnt and all that. So one of them was a big businessman of Indore, and another person was from Ahmedabad or something, his guest or something. So we tried our best, many angles. Because I was personally involved also, so I really like to solve murders that way, because that bent of mind also. So we tried a lot, and we on those times we didn't have those many ways of communication. Also, there were some insurances which were taken in London connection, and we did many things, but we could not solve it. So there are cases which will be always there, which I feel that we could have solved it, but we couldn't. But it was not due to lack of effort. It was lack of luck or whatever you say.
Right.
We could not make it. Justice, that I would not say. I have done my best to provide justice to how much whoever I could, and whatever cases came in front of me, I have tried my best to deliver that justice wherever I have been posted. Because you are not from here. If you go around wherever I have served, even after 20 years of leaving that place, people still remember me a lot. And if I go back, there are so many thousands of people who come to meet me. And villages also, they welcome me with band and baja, that kind of thing, because you have done probably a good job.
Right.
So that kind of thing is there. Justice, I thought I have done my best. In unknowingly, if I have done something which should not have been done, I do not know. Right. But knowingly, I have done whatever I could to do my job well and to give the justice which people need. Cases, as I said, yes, there may be many, few, which I thought solve करना था, but नहीं हो पाया.
Okay. Sir, डर लगा है कभी? Have you felt fear? कभी?
Fear तो नहीं. You feel threatened sometimes.
Okay.
But fear तो obviously not, because I am not that type of person also. Fear you feel only if you are hiding something, if you are saying something wrong. That's why I tell my trainees also, because I am in a training institute, that the biggest power, shakti जो होती है ना, is to tell the truth. Because if you tell the truth, then you have no fear.
Right.
The person who tells the truth, वो डरता नहीं है. Because आपको तो सच ही बोलना है, तो डरने की क्या बात है? तो मैं तो कभी वो तो मेरे को fear तो नहीं हुआ, but yes, anxious and a little threatened when you face big crowds, when there's a lot of law and order. There कभी-कभी पत्थर भी हमने खाए हैं, कभी-कभी गोलियां भी चली हैं आसपास. So you do feel a little threatened, and you have to take the preventive measures for it. But anything can happen anytime, like encounters we do. In Indore only encounter, that guy was just standing right. I came my vehicle, I got down from the vehicle, and there were 2-3 of my team members who were following that person, and they were standing on the road. So I got down, I said, where is he? Where did he go? So they said, sir, he has come here only. Something like that they said. And before they said, across the road there's a small pan ki gumti type of thing. No? He was hiding below it. So we were just looking, kahan gaya? Where has he gone? So suddenly he got up, maybe as far as that sofa. Okay. And from there he fired 3 rounds at us. And it missed me. We were 2 officers standing. So हमारे बीच से निकली वो गोली. And there's an auto going on the road. उस पे भी लगी जाके. So anything would have happened. 5 inches here or there, it would have hit us. So that kind of threat is always there. But fear is never there.
So what have been, like, was there any aha moment of your career where you're like, yaar, this is why I joined IPS? Like, today it was all worth it. Like, joining IPS was worth it.
No. ऐसा तो कोई moment. The whole life, the whole job is so good.
Okay.
That if you do an honest job and you take the people with you and do that job, or you are always happy. And especially this uniform. You wear a uniform, give you a new dimension in your personality, in your confidence, and the sense of service you get out of wearing the uniform. is itself a great reward.
Right.
So you don't that one moment, I don't know, but the entire 33 years has been a real pleasure serving in uniform.
So I think so there is a very thin line when people wear this uniform. वो कहते हैं ना सर, like बहुत से ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं जिनके सर पे चढ़ जाती है, ये भी फैक्ट है कि भाई बट वो बहुत थिन लाइन है टू डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एंड ईगो, टेकिंग इट ऑन देयर ईगो कि यार अब तो वी आर द किंग. सो I mean, that is something which is very important. Like you said, it is about understanding the essence of the service you are in.
Why you come here?
Right.
You should know that.
Right.
You come to serve the people, not serve yourself.
Right. Absolutely so. So, one more question about this is, are you spiritual? भगवान में मानते हैं?
Oh yes, very.
So, आप तो इंदौर सर, यहाँ तो महाकाल की नगरी कहते हैं इसको.
महाकाल की नगरी तो उज्जैन है, but yes, this region is महाकाल के.
या पूरा हाँ वही. Right. So कभी ऐसा फील हुआ है सर that the spiritual hand is on you? Like जैसे अभी आपने एक इंस्टेंस बताया, बिल्कुल इसमें भी मैं मान सकता हूँ कि आपको लगा होगा कि यार आज तो एक भगवान ने बचा दिया. क्योंकि यही होता है ना सर, एक बात होती है कि डू योर बेस्ट, गॉड विल डू द रेस्ट. और अगर आप ईमानदारी से काम कर रहे हो, यू आर डूइंग योर जॉब विद utmost honesty, so then do you think that God always comes at the right time to help you? Have you felt that?
God is omnipresent यार, वो तो God तो that is state of mind again. And भगवान को तो विश्वास करते जो करना, पुलिस में तो रह के हमें और विश्वास हो जाता है भगवान पे, क्योंकि हम ऐसी चीज़ें देखते हैं जो और ऐसी चीज़ें समाज के ऐसे पहलू को भी देखते हैं, ऐसे लोगों को भी देखते हैं जिनको लोगों को लगता है कि भाई ये तो दिस इज नॉट ह्यूमैनिटी, दे आर वर्स देन एनिमल्स. तो गॉड इज ओमनी प्रेजेंट वैसे भी. बट मैं तो शुरू से रिलीजियस था. माई वाइफ इज़ वेरी मच मोर रिलीजियस इन मी, सो शी हैज़ मेड मी मोर रिलीजियस. एंड आई वॉज पोस्टेड इन उज्जैन एज DIG ऑल्सो ऑफ उज्जैन एंड ऑल दैट. सो दैट टाइम आपने महाकाल भगवान के मंदिर का मेंशन किया, वो भी अनुभव है टू सर्व इन उज्जैन, बिकॉज इट इज़ वहाँ पे महाकाल की सवारी निकलती है. देयर सो मेनी थिंग्स which you get to see the crowd and and God's presence there, and there's so many incidents which I can tell you when you really feel that there is some power which is always there, guiding you and protecting you and helping you. And as you said, if you are doing with the right intention, that you may face problem today, but tomorrow something happens which eases that whole pain, and you get something much better. So you can only attribute it to some greater force,
right?
And that we call God. Some people call it with some other name. So पर है तो कोई पावर तो है जो हम सबको चलाता है. और मैं तो बहुत बड़ा, आई एम अ वेरी बिग cow. I love cows also. So I've got cows in my home also. So I'm a Gaur sevak also. So because I believe that the best, if you are with a cow, they say that if you sit under an old tree, or if you sit with an old person, buzurg vyakti, or you sit next to a cow, you get the same ashirwad and the same vibes and the same
positivity
blessings.
Also.
Blessings, yeah.
Right.
That is the supreme animal bologe ya supreme life form which is there in the world. It is true. There is something in that life also.
Right, sir. So now I want to talk about one new culture which is emerging. I'm sure आपने भी देखा होगा, कई बार young trainees होते हैं in civil services, and they are creating reels, of grand entry videos of them walking, and police officers surrounding them, sirens are blowing, and people are like, oh my god, and the like IAS officer की शादी की भी reel चलती हैं सर, ठीक है. अब इसमें मेरा ये मानना है कि people don't, अब young aspirant है, वो ये देख के सोच रहा है यार ये मिलेगा, ठीक है, but they don't know that this life in civil services, whether it be any service, it is a life of sacrifices. I'm sure you must have also made a lot of sacrifices, especially work-life balance, you are always on the job. So I want you to educate the young aspirants कि boss, it's not just all glitters and glory, it is also a lot of sacrifices, so be ready for that also.
See, ये रील बनाना एंड उसको करना, दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ द टुडेज वर्ल्ड. दैट्स द मिलियू व्हिच वी आर लिविंग इन. सो उसको बुरा बोलना या अच्छा बोलना के कोई मतलब नहीं है. इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस सिस्टम व्हिच इज देयर टुडे. सो वो तो करेंगे, यंगस्टर्स ज्यादा करेंगे, सब करेंगे, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम भी नहीं है. दैट बिकॉज एवरीवन इज डूइंग इट. किसी कोई बिजनेसमैन है वो कर सकता है, तो कोई पुलिस ऑफिसर भी नहीं कर सकता. सो इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ द, हाँ, सो यू डोंट डू समथिंग व्हिच इज ऑब्सीन और समथिंग व्हिच इज वियर्ड एंड ऑल दैट, दैट्स ओके. बट मैं तो हमेशा लोगों को बोलते, जैसे मैं तो जाता हूँ कार्यक्रमों में, बहुत जाता हूँ टू एड्रेस द यूथ एंड ऑल. सो मैं हमेशा लोगों को यही बताता हूँ कि जस्ट बिकॉज व्हेन यू आर लिविंग योर लाइफ, एनीबडीज लाइफ, My life, your life, some common person's life, some businessman's life, some politician's life, anyone's life. The moments of struggle, the moments of problems will always be more. And the moments of pleasure, the moments of happiness will always be less in anyone's life. So don't ever feel that somebody gets off from a very big car or lives in a very big house, so that person is having no problems.
Right.
That person may be having more problems than you do.
Right.
He may be, or she may be less happier than what you are.
Yeah.
So that size of your vehicle or the size of your house and the people surrounding you don't give you happiness. It is you and your own self which gives you happiness. So people who are in bigger posts and bigger, they have more problems.
They have much more to lose.
Yes, more to lose. They have more to do. They have more challenges. Like in our uniform service, we say difficult decisions are privilege of rank. That the higher you are, the more difficult decision you have to take, the more sacrifices you have to make, the more hard you have to work. Everything follows with you. It's not that I'm wearing my rank is not EG. I'm the highest rank in my service.
Right.
So that doesn't mean that I am the best. I'm very happy. It's not like that. I have to do much more and face much more and have much more problems than the junior officers. So never ever, nobody should feel. Forget these services. They are the very good services for your future, for your life, for doing something good. But don't feel that they are a bed of roses.
Right.
And that is a bed of roses or a crown of thorns is what you make of your life. Right. You may be doing something very humble, very simple, but you may still be very happy.
Right.
And because in police service, I've seen you have to sacrifice with your family. You have to sacrifice your eating. You have to sacrifice your health. You have to sacrifice so many things to do a good job. I from a very young age, I had a problem because we used to eat at any time. 2 बजे रात को खाना खा रहे हैं, कभी दिन में 5 बजे लंच खा रहे हैं, या कभी खा भी नहीं रहे हैं,
साइकिल कुछ नहीं है,
वो भी नहीं है, रात भर गश्त कर रहे हैं. So this kind of thing happens. So as a result, first thing which goes is your health.
Right.
And by the time you're 35 or 40, you are having problems. So I realized it that time. So I took really stringent measures to keep myself okay. But that's another struggle.
Right.
You have to keep healthy, and then you have to keep working, but you have to do exercise. But it adds to your problems. Right. So there is no doubt about it. You should be happy where you are. That should be your aim of life. I think that's what I keep telling people. It's not money. It's not power. It is not importance. It's nothing. But it is happiness. Right. If you can find it in what you are doing today, then that is the best for you.
Actually, so this year the UPSC, they conduct the essay exam. They had a topic on essay that there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way to everything.
Yes.
Like something related to this,
maybe,
but that was the statement, and it was a really great statement actually. Right, sir.
And you can find happiness in whatever you do.
Right.
But you should look for it.
Right.
If you're dissatisfied in whatever you do, then you can never be happy.
Most of the people are, searching something in the dark room. They don't know what they are searching for. That
they
is
come
the
into
problem.
the service and still they feel कि ये posting नहीं मिलेगी.
Right.
What is the
IPS है तो फिर हाँ मतलब right.
अब ये जाना है उधर posting चाहिए ये क्यों नहीं हुआ वो क्यों नहीं तो फिर दुखी हो आप. उससे अच्छा तो कहीं और जाके दुखी हो लेते. इतना मेहनत करके इसमें क्यों आए?
We have seen instances of suicides in services. That is a great example actually of this thing.
I will tell you small.
Right.
I have a personal problem. My eldest son has a problem from birth. So I had to look after him. So I requested that I should be given a posting not in the field some years back. And then I joined the training institute. It's because I had to look after him for some time. I thought that was a very important part of my life and duty that which I was not being able to do because I was SP and DIG and IG in the field. So though I was posted in a training institute here in Indore only, the other one. I spent 3.5, 4 years there. And it was a very small training institute and I built that up and all. That is a separate thing. But you won't believe it, Vibhu, that was the best 4 years of my life. And I achieved everything which I always wanted in those 4 years. The cyber also started then only.
Okay.
Because I wanted to do something new, something different. I had time, I started it. And now it is a very big thing for me. It is and the mainstay of my life is this. And I can keep doing it later on also after I retire. So many things I got to do which I would have never been able to do if I would have continued in that, rat race or whatever you call it.
So, sir, how beautifully you actually gave an example to the statement that you had a problem at your home, right? And then you had to go for a different posting, but because you were motivated to find happiness, so you were able to find it.
Yes.
And somebody who doesn't want to find it, they will never find it, no matter if you give them everything.
The best posting,
right?
Whatever so-called best posting.
100%, so 100%. Now, sir, I am guiding a lot of aspirants, more than 30,000 young UPSC aspirants over social media. And when I told them that I'm going for a podcast with an IPS officer, there were three major questions that came up, right? The number one will be the political nexus. Yeah, that is a very debated question, right? The second one was about the work-life balance, and I think we have touched upon that. The third most important question, which I want to focus on, was from female aspirants. That they wanted to know that, I mean, most of the female aspirants, they're a bit hesitant about joining the Indian police service. They're like, kya ye hamare liye hai? We listen that, in Indian Army also now, there is a effort being done to take more female officers. What is the status of females in the Indian police service? Will you how will you motivate the young females that you should join the Indian police service? There is a lot for them to contribute.
I would never say that it is not a service in which ladies should not come with open mind, open heart.
Right.
It's a service which is, as I said, which is best if you want to do for people, if you want to do for society. At the end of the day, when you lie down on your bed, you feel, I have done a good job. I have given some person relief, some person security. Because security, lack of security, as a police also, you don't realize what a lack of security is. But lack of security, that fear complex and psychosis, that is the worst feeling, I guess. It's as bad as being hungry and you're not getting food. So it is like that. So if you can give somebody some comfort, somebody some security, I think it's a very big contribution to society. So all the ladies who are out there, whoever feel like that they actually, number of women are coming now into the IPS. In the state service also, we have got 1/3, 33% reservation for DSPs and constabulary also. So number of women are coming. It is a tough job for men. It is an equally tough job for women. There is no question. I will say there is a very good job and you will have no problem. You will have as much problem as a male officer has, but you will be equally good and maybe even better. So you should come. You should do. If you want to do something for society at large and have that mindset that I want to do something good and I want to be close to the people and work with them and achieve my goals, nothing better than this. I don't think there is any job better than a police officer's job for doing good in the society and good for people and citizens. But no fear of that. You should have that it is going to be not for a lady or a female. It is as good for you as good for anybody and very tough, which I said. So you have to sacrifice also, but I'm sure they will do it, and then they will enjoy it at the end of the day. They will feel, oh, we made the best decision. Good we didn't go to the other service. We came here. I'm sure that it is like that.
Right. So
we got many lady officers here also in our institute. Yesterday, as I said, I went for a jungle camp, and I was just seeing they were having a demonstration for ambush. I was witnessing that. So they were DSPs and sub inspectors and all that. And there were, I think, more than half of them were lady officers. And I was seeing them running and climbing the mountains and hiding themselves and ambushing party. And they were as fit as the boys. They were never behind one step. I never, because I was observing them. That's my job. So I never found one lady officer behind one step. They're equal or maybe even faster and more fitter than those boys who were there. So there's no problem. Only thing is that you should have you're ready to sacrifice and work hard.
Right. So, sir, in the beginning of the podcast, you mentioned about problem-solving attitude, right?
Yeah.
In this context, I want to ask a question for the young UPSC aspirants. So, UPSC examination is a year-long process, and an aspirant prepares for it for the entire year.
Yeah.
And then his fate is decided in a preliminary examination. He goes to the exam hall. I'm sure you must have encountered a lot of high-pressure situations. From that learning, what advice will you give to an aspirant who prepares for an year, goes to the exam, takes the exam, and let's say in the exam, first 10 questions, he's like, nahi ho raha. He starts to panic, blank ho raha hai. So what will be an advice of a senior IPS officer to a young aspirant? कि यार यही तो ट्रेनिंग है, यही तो तुम्हें आगे जाके प्रेशर हैंडल करना है. प्रेशर कैसे हैंडल करे वो? उस टाइम पे वो क्या करे? उसके अप्रोच क्या होनी चाहिए?
I would say giving an exam is very different from other types of pressure in the job or in the training.
Right.
Exam is different because it is a very concentrated 3 hours or whatever is the time, and it is very directed at particular. You have to do it then and there and be done with it. Otherwise, training and life and all that, you have got second chances. Here, you don't have a second chance. So you have to be because you're younger, so you have to be more agile. But I would only feel that you should not be too stressed that if you don't make it, then what?
Yeah.
This is what happens with I have seen in people that अगर नहीं हो गया तो फिर क्या होगा? फिर मैं 2 बार दूंगा, 4 बार I'll become. That fear should not be there. If you don't have that, like in my job also I can say that I was never fearful of my I'm posted here, I'll be transferred tomorrow. कल का जाता आज जाऊँ. I used to have this kind of attitude, but I will do what is right and what I think should be done. So never no pressure. So if you can handle that pressure, that if I don't do well, then I will not be able to come. Then you will be in a better position. But yes, it is not the same thing as living life. Exam is different from. That's what I believe.
But the thing is, don't make that exam everything. You know.
Yeah. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
It is just an exam. Take it like that.
Yes.
Perform your best, but then don't think that everything is dependent on this exam. When it becomes larger than life, then it becomes a problem.
And then that's what I said. Then you have to main aim in life is happiness.
Right.
So you want to give it because you want to become an IAS, IPS, or whatever service officer. Try it. You might make it. Very nice. If you don't make it, then you might do something which gives you more happiness. You never know. I have seen people who used to work, who give the exam with us. There was one person, I will not take his name, but we were preparing together, and 3 of us were there, and I came into IPS and all that. The other person who was with us, he came to custom service.
Okay.
So he's also joined. He's a very senior officer now. But the third person didn't, and I think he's doing best amongst all of us. He is based in Hyderabad, and he's also running this coaching class only.
Oh, okay.
And he has got such a huge network all over Andhra, and he's got how many centers, and he has done very, very well. And he's the guy who didn't make it. So it's not that. It's what you do afterwards also is very important.
You will eventually figure out.
Yeah.
So one very interesting question. After being in service for so many years, like you wanted to be in IAS, you came into IPS. Given the new job opportunities, I'm sure you must be aware now. So, like you were talking before this podcast, that the culture of social media, podcasting.
Yeah.
This is a very funny question, but if you were like, let's say 21 years old, straight out of college, would you have still attempted the UPSC exam to get into an IPS, or you would have wished for another career? कि यार कुछ और कर लेते, अब तो या यही चाहिए था, अभी भी कोई बोले तो नहीं IPS ही चाहिए दोबारा.
No, I told you that before also. उस समय भी नहीं चाहिए था मेरे को. उस समय मैंने मम्मी के लिए किया था, मेरी माँ का दिल रखने के लिए. So that time also I was not in that frame of mind. So I'm sure I wouldn't have, if I'm rewind my life, but I know what is going to happen, then I will choose this only. But if it is a fresh slate, and now the opportunities are so many.
Right.
हमारे समय में तो डॉक्टर बन जाओ, इंजीनियर बन जाओ, विदेश चले जाओ, those 2-3 things were there. But अब तो बहुत सारे हैं यार, and so you can try.
और थोड़ा समझना भी चाहिए aspirants को. Like Sanjeev Sanyal sir also mentioned that UPSC is becoming very big thing in Indian like youth. They are wasting their EOs into preparing for this exam. Okay, you want to get into the service, give 1, 2, 3 serious attempts, but then have a backup. There are ample of other opportunities, and like you said, you can actually do better outside the service, right? And the people in the service, you can actually inspire them. That for example, so this is our part of that small initiative, like you said, that we traveled all the way here because we wanted that perspective. We wanted to create that awareness which you are also creating and complement that effort, right? So like that was the part of it. And
only thing is that these services will give you a plank to start with.
Right.
That is the only best part of it. That you are somewhere, you don't need to introduce yourself as anything else. You are IAS also, IPS also. You start at a very that level.
You get a runway.
But ultimately, it is your caliber. And I've seen so many IAS and IPS officers doing nothing in life. They have spent their whole service.
Very important point, actually.
But that yes, the starting is a little better, but that doesn't mean that is the end.
Right. So, in the last part of this episode, what advice or one lesson you would like to give to our audience, the young audience, and in the context of the present day India, in context of everything like we talked about, pressure is there, health crisis is there in the young population, cyber world is, it's a looming threat over them. There are a lot of issues which young people are facing, young Indians. So, what will be your advice to young India? That
for what?
For in life, like considering all, like I told you, like this is a complete ecosystem.
Yeah.
Young Indians, like we say, we are in a phase of a demographic dividend, right? Young India will lay the foundation of the dream India we want. like the developed India by 2047 we talk about. These young Indians will only make that dream a reality. But these young Indians, they have high. मैं तो सर एक बात बोलता हूँ, हमसे ज्यादा जुगाड़ू कोई रेस ही नहीं है. एंड जुगाड़ इज दैट फाउंडेशन जिसपे हम पूरी दुनिया पे एक तरीके से कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. उस लीडरशिप को इंडिया वो लीडरशिप तभी अज्यूम करेगा व्हेन एवरी इंडियन विल हैव दैट लीडरशिप एबिलिटी. यूथ हमारा गेमिंग, पोर्नोग्राफिक कंटेंट, साइबर वर्ल्ड में एंगेज्ड है, हेल्थ पे ध्यान नहीं दे रहा, ओवर स्ट्रेस्ड है, एक एग्जाम के पीछे भाग रहा है, तो बात नहीं बनेगी ना. सो क्या आपकी एडवाइस होगी, एक लाइफ को लेके एक पर्सपेक्टिव होगा यंग इंडियंस के लिए?
यंग इंडियंस के लिए देखिए, आई ऑलवेज से देयर आर सम थिंग्स व्हिच यू सम एटीट्यूड्स व्हिच यू शुड डेवलप,
राइट,
एंड दे कैन बी डेवलप्ड. दे आर नॉट समथिंग व्हिच यू आर बोर्न विद, दे आर समथिंग व्हिच यू कैन डेवलप इट. तो अगर आप कर सको, मतलब इट्स जस्ट एडवाइस. They have to think about it and then see how much they can do about it. First is there are 3 qualities which you should try to develop.
Okay.
If you have those 3 qualities, and this is from my experience, and this is not some last word in it, but that's advice. So first is that you should always have a disciplined approach,
okay,
which is lacking in many aspects in this country, in the world also. But अपने देश में तो काफी है, discipline नहीं है. Then the discipline is not only a parade ground का discipline, marching वाला, सावधान विश्राम वाला, not that. Discipline means time discipline should be there. खाने में discipline होना चाहिए, बोलने का discipline होना चाहिए. But all aspects of your life, you should be disciplined. If you have a disciplined approach, you will be successful. And then, as you said, you will contribute for this country also,
right,
and all that. First, discipline. Second, what I say is respect. You respect the organization, respect the system, respect the people. हम जब गुरुओं के सामने, अपने पेरेंट्स के सामने झुकते हैं, तो काहे के लिए झुकते हैं? हमें आशीर्वाद मिलता है. So when you bow down before someone, then you get something in return always.
Yeah.
You don't get bad things. So respect the systems and then try to work with them. If you don't respect it, if you have all kind of things in your mind, कि तो ऐसा ही है, ये तो बदमाश है, ये तो बेईमान है, ये तो फलाना है, so then you will never do a good job for yourself and you will contribute nothing. So second is respect. And third, which I say, is always honesty. Honesty is also at a premium. Honest approach is again not money only, that आपने पैसा लिया तो आप बेईमान हो, पैसा नहीं लिया तो आप ईमानदार हो. ऑनेस्टी मेरे विचार में, ईमानदारी जिसे बोलते हैं, हर चीज़ में ईमानदारी होनी चाहिए. आपकी नीयत ईमानदार होनी चाहिए, आपके प्रयास ईमानदार होने चाहिए. तो एवरीथिंग, इफ यू हैव ऑनेस्ट अप्रोच विच इंक्लूड्स ट्रूथ, ऑलवेज सेइंग द ट्रूथ, सो यू विल, दीज 3 थिंग्स इफ यू कैन डेवलप समहाउ, ऑनेस्टी, डिसिप्लिन एंड रिस्पेक्ट, तो you will be definitely a better person. And when you are a better person, you will be also more chances of being successful person. And then, as you said, they can all contribute to the greatness of this country also. ये 3 चीज़ें तो होनी चाहिए, और जो हैं भी है, पर वो उसको डेवलप करना चाहिए और ज़्यादा अच्छा करो, ताकि आप कुछ अच्छे बन सको और इस देश को भी अच्छा बना सको.
Right, sir. It was a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us this opportunity to host you. I mean, this is one of those podcasts जहाँ मुझे टाइम का पता नहीं चला कि कब निकल गया. And you have a very clear perspective. You are a very humble person, sir. Thank you so much for giving us your time. And it was lovely speaking to you, sir.
Thank you so much for coming all the way and spending time here. I hope you enjoyed Indore. If you have come here before, नहीं है?
Definitely, sir. नहीं, पहली बार सर, मेरा पहली बार है.
Cleanest city, you must have seen it. It's a lovely area. Malwa is the best. इसकी कहावत होती है मालवा की, कि मालवा माटी गहन गंभीर.
Okay.
हाँ, पग पग रोटी डग डग नीर. It is a beautiful ornament, मालवा की माटी. So every step you will find water, and every way you will find food. So people are also very good.
Right.
So this is a very great area.
People are very humble, sir.
I was born here actually. My father was collector here.
Okay.
So I was born here. तो मैं तो मालवा का ही हूँ. And most of my service has also I spent around here only.
Right.
So I am born here. तो मैं तो मालवा का रहने वाला हूँ in a way. So it is good you came all the way and enjoyed yourself. Come again. I'm sure you will see Omkareshwar. There is another great shrine.
Right. Yes, sir. Definitely.
That is on the south side. This is north side. वहाँ भी जाना.
Sir.
उधर जाना, बगलामुखी माई, वो तो इज अ वेरी गुड टेम्पल इन नलखेड़ा. तो अभी तो नवरात्रि चल रही है, तो इट्स अ वेरी गुड टाइम टू गो इफ यू गो देयर.
बिल्कुल सर.
कम अगेन.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your time.
Best of luck.
Lovely speaking to you, sir.
Same.
I hope आपको भी अच्छा लगा होगा, sir.
बहुत अच्छा, very nice.
Thank you so much.
Okay.